Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Carol. If you're tuning in for the very first time, I would love to have you as a new subscriber, so just hit that red subscribe button. Today's video is a Dollar Tree DIY Easter project. Now, my inspiration came from a recent trip to a TJ Maxx store where I spotted this incredible looking bird's nest that was filled with Easter eggs. I thought it was so pretty, and I just figured I must be able to recreate this with Dollar Tree items. First, I'd like to show you my inspiration from TJ Maxx, so let's take a look. Now I'm going to show you how I recreated this with Dollar Tree items. So let's get started. The only tools required for this project are a glue gun, a pair of strong snippers to cut the grapevine wreath, and a pair of kitchen scissors. I purchased two of the smallest grapevine wreaths from the Dollar Tree. I made sure one was a little bit larger to place that one on top to create the natural shape of a bird's nest. I also purchased a large grapevine wreath with the intent to cut it apart so that I can fill in the bottom of my nest with those pieces. I also purchased some Spanish moss. Once the nest is completed, I will line the inside of the nest with the Spanish moss before I place my eggs inside. I also purchased a piece of brown felt that I will cut a round circle out and line the inside of the nest before I put the Spanish moss inside. I start the project by placing the larger of the grapevine wreaths on top of the smaller one. I have to try a few adjustments to see how it's going to lay the best, as when I put the hot glue on, I want to make sure that the larger one adheres to the smaller one. Now that I've determined my exact placement, I'm going to just lift one end up and start applying the hot glue. I am applying it in generous amounts as it kind of seeps through the grapevine. Once I've finished applying the hot glue, I place both grapevine wreaths together and hold them firmly until the hot glue has hardened. Now that they are both glued together, this is what it looks like. Now it's time to start filling in the bottom of the bird nest. I'm going to do this by cutting apart this larger grapevine wreath that I purchased for that reason. I just begin by cutting it apart in sections that will fit the bottom of the bird's nest. Now that I've cut enough of the larger grapevine into sections to fill in the bottom of the bird's nest, I can begin to glue them in. This is how it looks as I'm adding the twigs to the bottom of the nest. I'm going to add just a few more before I add the brown felt. To determine how large of a circle I needed to line the inside of my nest, I just simply placed the grapevine wreath on top of my felt square and cut a circle. Now that I have my circle cut, I'm simply going to attach it to the inside of my nest using a little bit of hot glue. Now it's time to add the Spanish moss to the inside of the nest. I'm going to use just a few little dabs of hot glue to adhere the Spanish moss to the felt. Now that the Spanish moss is completed, it's time to add the eggs. After cutting open the packages of eggs, I inspect them closely. I personally like the sides that have the most speckles on them to be facing up. Once I determined how many eggs I wanted to have in my nest and exactly where I wanted each color to be, I then applied a little bit of hot glue on each egg and placed them on top of the Spanish moss. The project is now completed, and I'm very happy with how it turned out. I think it looks pretty good for a knockoff. And here's my little bird's nest sitting with my little bunnies that I found at Walmart. I'm really pleased with how it turned out. I want to thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you're not a regular subscriber, I would love to have you join my channel. I put out 2 new videos each week, and I hope to see you again next time.